So for these 6 months, this is the target that you complete these, study these puzzles and complete it. Now, many of those patterns, right, tactical methods, there are almost 25 tactical methods. So the ones which are already known to you, I'm not going to cover it. You can look at it yourself. For example, double attack and knight and pawn fork, exploiting a pin, right? These I'm not going to cover. Discovered attack, discovered check, etc., double check, etc. But there are things like how to fight against pin. There is a mill. There is a decoy, blocking, smothered mate. I think you know, distraction, weakness. So many of them I'm going to cover it. Okay, but some very basic ones which we already know, because you know pin, you know fork, you know skewer, you know double check, discovered check, discovered attack. These you know. So 5-6 of them I expect you yourself to do it. Other ones we will take it up and we will do it. Okay.
So were we supposed to do any puzzles from Fundamentals of Chess Tactics?
Yes, every week you start now, and you can complete it by things. See, there are you can first you have to just study this in the theory part, and then you look at and do the things. So the exercise, see what is the thing? There are 275 puzzles to be solved by the end of another 5 months. Okay, so we are into October, November, December, January, February, and yeah, you can consider by February end you should have completed 275 puzzles. So you have a lot of time, but you have to start doing it now regularly. Okay.
So
and
you will not be teaching us?
Huh?
So you will not be teaching us?
I'll be teaching. That's what I said. That the basic ones which you know, I will not be again teaching, but all the other ones I'll be covering. Mill, decoy, blocking, smother, distraction, weakness of the back rank, square clearance, line clearance, all interception. These I will cover it. Only the basic ones that you already know, I will not cover. Pin you know, fork you know, double attack you know, discovered attack you know, right? So these are the ones I will not cover. Only some 4 or 5 of them. Other ones we will cover it. Okay, fine. So let us. So this is going to be the course. I think for those who are not yet enabled, I am enabling them. I am just in the process of enabling for everybody. But meanwhile, you can just do a preview and start looking at it. And I will, as soon as I enable, I will tell you. So for those who have enabled, I have already told. For most folks, it is already there. Yeah, Eden, you are having raised your hand. Eden?
Oh yes, so actually the problem is the reason I have not been doing Chess King puzzles is I can't enable Chess King in this account which I'm using.
Why you can't enable Chess King?
I don't know, sir. It's not allowing me.
What, you can't log into Chess King?
Yeah.
With your ID, I had given you the ID. Do you know, remember the ID and the password?
Yeah, actually, I got my laptop repaired, so.
Okay.
So everything is gone.
Then you can reset the password. That's not a problem. It will come to your email ID, registered email ID. It will come, and you can reset the password. No problem.
Sir, I opened it. I got it. I opened this.
Okay. Yeah. Arav, I have enabled it.
Yeah, and I didn't even need to. It didn't show purchase. It just showed open.
That is because I have purchased it for you. Okay.
Oh.
So I am purchasing it for you. So all the class people, because it is included as part of the class, so I am purchasing it for enabling it for you. Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Will you send the link of the Chess King you're using, sir? Because actually I have lost the link.
Yeah. See, the link is very, very simple. It is learn.chessking.com. Okay, I will send it to you right now. This itself. Okay, so it is there. So this itself, and you will have to. I think your ID will be something like MC1 or MC2 _ Eden. I think MC1 _ Eden or. That will be the ID, and you can access it, but no problem. If you can't access it, you later on ping me. I will help you get it. Okay. All right. Now let us get going. We have lost a lot of time, so let us get it thing. So today we are going to look at, what are we going to look at? Today I'm going to tell about the Petrov defense. How many of you know about Petrov's defense? I think almost everybody will know, but how many of you have used it? Okay, Nandan is saying yes.
Sir, I have used it.
You have used it. Anup has used it.
Sir, I don't like it.
I have used it.
Okay, okay. it is an interesting opening to know, definitely. Okay, I think you should play it few games. Now, after that, if you like it or not like it, it is up to you. But it is
Sir,
definitely.
for me, it's not there. I mean, for me, it's not there, this thing.
No, this is in a different course. Don't worry about this. This is not there in the chess strategy for beginners. This is there in learn chess from beginner to club play. This, I think you can access this course and it will be there. Okay. But let us go ahead and
Sir,
see.
I'm not able to get it. I'm not able to get it. It's showing purchase.
Yeah. Just click on preview and then you may get it. Okay. Don't click on purchase. That's fine. It is not, it is thing. So let us look at this. Okay. Let us look at Petrov's defense. The name comes from a Russian player called Alexander Petrov. He was a very strong player in the 1860s, 70s. So almost 150 years back. And he popularized this opening. So many times this is also called as Russian defense because he was Russian. Okay. And so let us look at it. It is a very important because many times you are so much used to the other openings that your opponent plays this, then you don't know what to do, right? So that should not happen. So you should always know. And this is a very stable opening. Okay, it is not a risky opening. It's a very stable opening. So what is the opening? It is E4, E5, knight F3, and rather than defending the pawn, Black says, I'm going to attack your pawn. Okay, that is the key characteristics of.
Oh, so I've seen this many times, sir.
Yeah. So let us see what is the right way. Okay, so simply if you if simply white takes the pawn, right, then Black says no problem, you take it, but immediately Black should not take the pawn immediately.
So because the queen will pin it.
Queen will pin.
Sir, it's the queen which should come in front of king.
Yes, so that is the reason why what Black does is Black player first kicks away the knight, white knight.
Sir, but why did he move the pawn, not the queen?
Oh, because it is better for Black. See, for Black, it is always actually, you know what will happen is if you move the queen, you are kind of blocking your bishop, and white is also going to be not giving you the knight. White will come back with the knight. Then
Also even d5.
In fact, white will play d4 first, right? And then you will have to play anyway d6. So you can't just think. So that is why basically, and you don't want to block. So instead, Black, normally when white takes this, then Black plays d6 first. And then when knight goes back, then Black takes this pawn. Okay. And now if you pin it, it's okay. Actually, it is not a thing because Black also puts his queen behind the pawn. Okay. And if you play d3, if you want to kick away the knight, then knight happily goes back. Okay, now exchange of queens is going to happen here, and that is okay for Black because he's wanting to defend it. So even white, so something like this also white plays, tries to pin the knight. Black will first exchange it, and then it's
White cannot even move its queen.
Both of them cannot move their queen, and that is why the exchange will happen. But this is quite okay for Black. See, everything is all well defended and there is no problem, right? So this is knight c3 and Black will play c6. And even if white castles queenside trying to attack, but it's okay. Black will play knight a6 and then get back into the thing. So it is, and get the knight to c7 from here. And it is an equal position. Okay. So
Sir, I think Black is winning by one knight. Black is ahead by one knight.
No. See, just count it. White has got 2 bishops, 2 knights.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that bishop. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a very equal way. So Black is happy to play this as long as you are not you are holding the thing. So that is why knight e5. Okay. But there is one dangerous sacrifice you need to be aware of. Okay. When Black does this, there is something called as a Cochrane gambit. Anyone knows what is the Cochrane gambit?
I
What
do.
is the sacrifice that knight can do?
Yeah, the knight goes to f7.
Yep, Vihan, you are right. So knight goes to f7 is a dangerous sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. You are sacrificing the knight for 2 pawns, but the king will move and the king's f7 pawn is also gone, because of which you will get a very good chance of attack. Now, does it mean that it is winning for white? No, but it is defending is very difficult and you get some very good chances. So if somebody is interested, you can always look up the Cochrane Gambit. Let me see if it is there in the Wikipedia. Cochrane Gambit. Cochrane Gambit. Is it yeah, Petrov's defense. See here, they are showing that it is there is a Cochrane Gambit, classical variations. Yeah, you can read up this one. So yeah, the Cochrane Gambit, 4 knight takes f7 is labeled speculative by Nick de Fermian. But there are some games, interesting games. Knight takes f7, king takes f7, knight c3, c5, bishop c4 check, bishop e6, bishop e6 check, king e6, king has to come to e6, see? And then d4, and then king goes back. So it is not, it is what you call, it is dangerous, it is interesting to play. So, but you should just know this, okay? And our famous Stafford Gambit, a lot of you have been following this up. This has become a rage on the online chess currently. That also arises from the what do you call, from the Petrov's defense. So you can expect that, especially in some online tournaments, etc., people will play the this one, and Stafford Gambit is played by black, and you should know how to counter it. Okay, because otherwise you can lose very, very quickly. So that is what, but this is an interesting introduction to the opening. You can look up the Wikipedia page also. Okay, if you want, I will just send this link also. Yeah, okay, where did you lose me? Up to what point I was audible and visible? Hello?
You said that the Stafford Gambit came from, and then
Yeah.
you lagged.
Okay. So Stafford Gambit also is a line from this one, and very much popular nowadays in the online chess. So you should be aware, and you should know how to play against it, or how
Can
to.
you show me? Can you show me the board of it?
See,
Sir, can you show the board of
Stafford Gambit, I'm not going to discuss. There are many things. In fact, I think Anup and Vedant had done a study also together on Stafford Gambit, and there are a lot of pages. I will send you the link, but I'm just going to say that it all arises from this e4, e5, nf3, nf6. Okay, so that is why you should know about this defense. Okay, Stafford Gambit, I will send you the link. Okay, all right. So what are the other ways that white can play? White can also, one of the important ways that white can play is, instead of taking the pawn immediately, okay, white can play d4. Okay, and now the choice is for black, whether he wants to take the queen pawn, or want to take the king pawn, e pawn or d pawn, or he wants to defend. Okay, defending is generally not a good idea, great idea, because white will get advantage if black simply defends. So either black has to take the e pawn or the d pawn. Okay, so because what will happen is, if you play d6 just to defend your pawn, then white will exchange the pawns, exchange of the queens, and then come back with the knight to e5 and threatening on f7 fork, and you will be forced to defend it, and then after that white will defend his e pawn also. So black will be 1 pawn down. So that is why black never plays d6 in this position, does not defend it. But what black does is, black can play e takes d4, okay, which is this, he can take it, or he can also play knight takes e4. If knight takes e4, then generally what happens is, white first develops the bishop. So then black defends the knight by moving to pawn to d5, and then white takes knight to e5, and black also develops his bishop. So it is like a very, very symmetrical position. Okay, so this kind of a position can result in.
Okay, symmetrical.
Yeah, this is highly symmetrical, this one, right? So this is what can happen. Okay, The other position that we will look at and see is that other position is on after e4,
Sir?
nf3, nf6. Yeah.
Can you go back to that position
Uh,
where both the bishops were developed and
Yeah.
yeah. Now white can play queen to h5, right?
White can play queen to h5, but then black will probably just castle,
Okay.
right? Or black can also play knight to f6, and it is a good defensive move back. It is attacking the queen, covering the h7 pawn, right? As
No,
well.
but then that's just mate.
So then checkmate, yeah.
Why checkmate? Knight f6.
Queen takes f7.
Queen
Yeah.
takes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So you have to castle. Right. So
Okay, sir.
you have to first castle. Yeah. Only after castling, then knight can go back to f6. Then it is okay. So generally,
Sir, I didn't understand. How is it a checkmate?
no. Queen h5. If you play knight f6 back, then queen takes f7. Very simple, right?
Queen takes f7.
Yeah. First queen goes to h5. Queen goes to h5. Black castles, then black is safe. If black does not castle, then black has to play something. He has to play g6, but g6 is not a good move in this position. Best is castle only. But if he does not castle, what if the knight goes back to f6? Then queen can from here can hit the f7, right? Because the knight is there support. So that is a very simple tactic, right? Yeah. So generally, white plays c4 here. Okay, undermines the pawn which was defending the knight. And when that happens, black also plays c6. Because white's idea is black cannot take the pawn. If black takes the pawn on c4, then white will take the knight. So c4, c6, then knight c3. Okay, this is the kind of position that happens. It can happen in the normal.
Symmetric, basically.
Huh? Sorry?
It's symmetric, like.
Yeah, it's slightly asymmetric. It becomes because c4 is white and c6 is black. So after that, it's then white plays knight c3. Then black cannot play knight c6, and then it becomes asymmetric. But to a certain extent, it is symmetric. Okay.
Sir, it's like mirror view.
Yeah.
Just that it's black and white.
Yeah, correct. So the other option for black is go for e takes d4. Okay, e takes d4. And then you know what is the best move for white is not just take the pawn, but first push this pawn e5. Because if you simply take the pawn, then black will take this your e pawn. Then you can still recover that pawn, but it becomes difficult. Okay, so instead, what is the best move for white is e5, and then black should knight. you are troubled. Where will the black knight go? It should not go back to g8. It should come to e4. Okay, it should not come to d5. Why? Because that is the natural move for the pawn should come to d5, black's pawn. So it should not be. So e4 is good, and then white queen takes d4, attacking the knight, and then white defends it by extending the d5 pawn.
Can you go back a move?
Yeah.
Another move. And another one. Right here, can't you play knight to g4?
You can play knight to g4, but then if you play h3, then what are you going to play? White plays h3.
And then you'll play
Knight to h6. Knight on the rim is dim. You can't take the e5 pawn, right? So that's why knight to g4 is not a good move. Knight e4 is good. Okay. So this is the thing. Then queen takes d4. Then black plays d5. This is a very good move, and you should not simply go back to the knight, or you should not do any other kind of a thing. So you should play d5 here in the center, and then white can play apasa. And apasa, obviously you have to defend your knight. The only way you can defend is the knight itself goes back and takes it. Okay. If white does not take it, white does not take apasa, then black is bringing his bishop to c5. And then queen will move and then f2 is going to fall, right? So white also does not have too many options here, but white has got some other options. Instead of taking the queen takes d4, he can do something else also here. At this point, he can take the knight takes d4 also. That is the white option. Okay, but he looks at more quicker development, so he develops the queen. And now this is a strong idea from black, so white has to take it. Knight takes it, and then standard development: knight c3, knight c6. So queen is hit, so queen goes to f4. f4 is a relatively a square which is not exactly attacked by any of the black pieces. So,
So can't he give you a check right now? Black.
It will only help
Just for
black
fun.
develop. Just for fun, but it helps black develop. So that is the problem. Where will you give the
You
check?
mean it helps white develop?
Hmm?
You mean it helps white develop, right?
No. If you give a check, it helps black develop. See, there is nothing
How?
much useful you can do. Where will you give the check? Queen to e3?
Yeah.
Now you are blocking your
E7.
own bishop, and bishop will go to e7. Black bishop, anyway, he wants to put the black bishop to e7 because he wants to castle. Now you are forcing him to
Yeah.
make a move which he is happy to do. And now you will be wondering because your queen is in front of your king. So if black castles, then you are in danger because the rook can come to e8. So now you will have to move away. Right?
Yeah.
So it is, that is why it is just giving a check for the sake of it is not a good idea. Right? So what is the thing? Queen f4. This is I mean, this is not the only move. There are many more possibilities, but I'm just giving you what is a possible outcome. So now one possible way for black is to play g6 and bishop to g7. So this way it is possible for black to play.
So can I say something?
Yeah.
Can you go one move back?
Hmm.
In that it shows here the white queen occupies the invariable active position, but the absence of pawn in the center
Facilitates black's defense because there is no pawn in the center.
No, but then what about those two knights? They control three things, and those three things is the one that queen controls.
Yes, no, that is correct. White also has got two knights in good position. Black also has got two knights in good position. There is no central pawn, so black, it is easier for black to defend. Black has no problems defending this. That is what it is saying. Okay.
Yeah, and one more thing, that both the knights of white, they attack all the central squares.
Yes, but black's knight also, one of the knight which is landed on, see, one is on c6, which is a natural square. The other one which is on e6, it is also a good square because it is all controlling the e4 and c4 squares. It is very much in the center. So e6 is also a good, well-placed knight. No problem. Right? Only thing is that you have to be careful that there is no
So
knight.
I'm saying for white.
For white also it is good only. No problem.
For white, it's controlling the central square.
Yes,
if you were
yes.
the king of the hill, you would have won it by now.
Yeah. So there is a game in which so here, I mean, black has the option of playing g6 here and developing the bishop along the long diagonal. This is called as fianchettoing, right? Fianchetto. So fianchetto means put the pawn up and put the bishop along that diagonal. So you will get a long diagonal for the bishop. So
Some people do this move in the beginning. I mean, they use this as an opening.
Yeah, they will do that. Yeah. Especially if you are following Adiban, who likes to play b3 and bishop to b2, right? So Adiban the beast, if you are following. So fine. So I think at this point we will stop here because you see, this is the way that in which black has also got a decent game, and it is asymmetric. It is not symmetric here, right? So there are ways of going for symmetric positions. There are ways of going for asymmetric. Only thing you have to remember is if the position is symmetric, black has to be careful. Some mistake and black can get defeated immediately. So that is the thing. Vedant, you have raised the hand.
Yeah, so can you go back to when black plays g6?
Yeah.
instead of okay, yeah, so after black plays a G6, instead of moving bishop to D2,
Yeah.
what if you put knight to E5?
You can knight to E5, you can play it, no problem, but it will what you call black will acha, you are what is your attack? It is on F7, but I have a knight on D6. So I think black will be happy to play bishop to G7, even if you play knight to E5. Knight to E5, bishop G7.
Oh,
Because the F7
Okay.
is defended, right? And then in fact,
Yeah.
black will be castling, and then your knight is in front of your king. So you have to be careful in this when the file is open. Sometimes it is advantageous for you to occupy it, but sometimes it is disadvantage also. So depends on what is the position. But the other side can pin you, then you will be at a slight disadvantage.
okay.
So, all right. So this is what you call. This is the basic thing of the defense. There are more intricate, there are a lot more variations, etc. If you want to see it, then they are available in a course called as Chess Opening Lab. So I will just show it to you how it is. And there is even more. So it is like master level. Then there is something called as Modern Chess Openings. It's a book in which we get the full this one. But otherwise, there is Opening Lab. Yeah, Chess Opening Lab. This course covers all the important chess openings it covers. Okay, so if you want to know it about more complete course of chess openings, here open games. If you go to Petrov's defense, now they would have given much more. Four pages of theory they have given, much more than what we just looked at. So we looked at just one page, but here they would have given a lot more options. Okay, so it is there if you want to really study. It is there. Okay, Petrov's defense. See, so many variations it covers, and this is still just one page. So like this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, so many pages of this one. So lot more things in depth it is covered with some example games, etc. also. And yeah, there are 4 exemplary games. So that is what is in the course. But for you to understand basic and play, so much thing is also not required. You can, what we covered just now, with that much you can play. Okay. You can playing and then you keep improving. So what we are going to do in the next stage is we are going to be looking at some typical mistakes that can happen in the opening, in this opening. So we are going to see some 4 or 5 examples, but we will do that in the second half of this session. So we will take a small break and then we will join back. Okay. Now this is for actually for mistakes in the opening. There are 2 courses and which are very good. So actually, I mean, how do you know whether, I mean, you know a opening reasonably well only when you can capitalize on the mistakes of the opponents, right? So there are actually 2 Chess King courses. One is called as Chess Opening Blunders. Chess Opening Blunders. So this deals with when people have made some very drastic mistakes in the opening, but can you spot it and can you take advantage of it? This you will be able to do it only if your tactical vision is good. So if you know all types of tactics like the back of your hand, then you will be able to do it. So this is where outright blunders are there, and the other one is also there where typical mistakes on the opening. This is also a course where you can make things. So we are going to see some examples from both of these. Okay, so we will see this. So what we will do is now we will take a small break and we will join back in 3 minutes. Okay, so that the second part of the session will continue. All right.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Okay. See you. I'm going to stop recording and